I am honored to introduce our keynote speaker today. Please join me in welcoming Ester Nicholson.
Thank you. I am so honored to be here celebrating with you today the birth, the life, and legacy of a great man, Dr. Martin Luther King. Dr. King had a dream that one day we would come together as a nation with a unified intention towards forgiving and healing the past. He had this dream for us that one day we would cease blaming others for our pain, and that one day we would stop holding anything or anyone else accountable for our freedom, our joy, our prosperity, and our peace of mind. He understood that the same power that he had access to, the same power that he tapped into, that made the impossible possible, that we have that power within us. He believed that, he knew that. Dr. King also understood that by holding unforgiveness in our hearts, we were binding ourselves in the very chains we were attempting to break free from. The chains of resentment, which is the remembering, the retelling, and reliving of a painful event long after it has passed. I used to live that way myself, where I believed I was victim to the thoughts, the words, and actions of others. And this unforgiveness in my heart fueled a life of drug addiction and alcoholism. I thought if I told my painful story long enough, if I relived the same old pain long enough, that I was somehow hurting my enemies. But in reality, I was simply ingesting my own poison. There had to come a day, and there came a day, when I made a conscious decision to reclaim my freedom, to reclaim my wholeness, that is my divine birthright as a child of God, through the power of forgiveness. And as a result, I stand here today before you with 25 years of sobriety. Free, empowered, and living the dream. I wonder how many of us out here today are ingesting our own poison, the poison of unforgiveness into our lives. I wonder how many of us here today are releasing the toxins of resentment into our hearts, our minds, our bodies, our homes, and out into our communities. I wonder if you would imagine with me for a moment what it feels like to have 50-pound chains wrapped around your heart, your mind, and your spirit. That is what unforgiveness does. It blocks your joy, it blocks your freedom, and it makes you ineffective. And now I want you to just take a moment and imagine love. There's a great Sufi poet by the name of Rumi that says, "There is a field beyond right and wrong. I'll meet you there." And as you imagine love, I want you to just become willing to become willing to become willing to become willing to let it go, to let your story go, to let the pain of resentment go. And I say willingness because willingness is the beginning of possibility. Willingness is the beginning of freedom. I say the beginning because forgiveness is a process. It's not easy. Dr. King didn't do this because it was easy. He did it because he knew that by anchoring in this extraordinary power, that it was possible. I outlined this forgiveness process extensively in my book, 12 Keys to Freedom. We are standing at a recovery moment in history where it is no longer acceptable to identify ourselves as us over here and them over there. It is no longer acceptable for us to talk about loving our neighbors as we love ourselves. It is time to do the work. The work that takes the word forgiveness out of this interesting theory and this really nice spiritual word, and it allows it to become this dynamic force that taps us into this divine presence and power that sets us free, that makes a way out of no way, that makes the crooked places straight. Dr. King did not consider forgiveness to be a passive acquiescing to abuse. He never gave us permission to be wimps. He never gave us permission to be doormats. He considered forgiveness to be a powerful position of courage, clarity, and power. He knew that forgiveness allowed us to get out of the way so that brilliance had room to show up. My mentor has always said, the pain pushes until the vision pulls. The human condition has been motivated by pain for centuries. We don't have to do it the hard way anymore. We don't have to do damage control anymore. We can be pulled by a vision of liberty and freedom. But we must start right here at home. Before we forgive Libya, forgive your next door neighbor. Before you forgive and heal Iraq, forgive your brothers and sisters. Before we can even begin to forgive and heal Afghanistan, forgive your mothers, fathers, daughters, and sons. And before we can begin to heal the planet, we must start right here in our very beingness and begin to heal those false beliefs of unworthiness, undeservingness, and fear. It is through self-tolerance and self-compassion that we are able to manifest this out into the world. We're able to extend this out into the world. When we respond with love and clarity and freedom instead of hate and vengeance and revenge, the dream of Dr. King will have been fulfilled. When we can return love to those who have hated us, the dream of Dr. King will have been fulfilled. And then we will be able to say, with the authority and conviction of this great, courageous man, I believe this belongs to you.
Bravo, bravo. Ms. Ester Nicholson, ladies and gentlemen.